Yep, that was our classic intro, Trash FM. Welcome to Bucket Crab Breakdown, the show where we talk about anything and everything that tickles our fancy. As usual, I am Jaden. To my left is the lovely Sylus. Say hello, Sylus.
Hello.
And even further left of him is the incredulous Austin. Say hello, Austin.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Okay. So, I know we usually start this with what we did this week. So I have a story to share. So I was out there gardening, and by gardening I mean, pulling weeds so that the HOA doesn't yell at me. Because they love to send me passive-aggressive notes about my weeds every year. And I was out there weeding, and there's an egg in one of my flower pots.
How big
I think I'm gonna be a father. An egg, yeah.
Like what kind
Just
of
like an egg. I found it there.
like a chicken egg?
It looked like a chicken egg. I don't know what it was.
Is it like the same size as the chicken egg?
Yeah, it was like a white, little thing. It was just buried in there. I was hitting it with my trowel, and it was hard as a rock. I think that means my boy's gonna be big and strong. He's already got tough abs. Nah, he's gonna be big, beefy boy. I'm gonna be a father. It's gonna be so good.
Wait, so you hit an egg with what?
My little trowel I was using to pull up weeds.
It didn't crack?
No, I made a big, it was like hitting metal. It was like, prong.
What?
Yeah, have you ever, hit, metal on metal? Or,
Yeah, no.
hitting, a trowel against, a rock? It felt like that, and it made, a little, clank.
That's crazy.
And it was like clank.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see the egg. That's pretty crazy.
I hope it... I haven't checked on it in a couple days. It was just, buried in the dirt out there. I was wondering if, a squirrel took it, and they were like, this is gonna be my meal. Because I've noticed a bunch of ducks walk through my neighborhood, but, I don't live anywhere near water, so, I don't know what they're doing here.
Just hanging out, saying hi.
You know what it might be?
What?
Might be a snake brought it. For a
But
snack later.
Can a snake climb up? Well, aren't snakes hatched from eggs?
Yeah, but they also eat eggs.
It could be a
Bird
snake egg.
anyway.
It was in a flower pot, though. I don't know.
Yeah, you probably stashed it there.
Just keeping it warm. Okay, Sylus, what have you been doing this week? Enough egg talk.
Oh, I watched some anime. I finished one series. Well, season anyway, that's only out. First season, whatever. And I've been playing games, the usual.
What
Pretty
anime
boring
series
week.
did you finish?
What anime? Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh.
I heard, rumor has it, we're going to be talking about that a little later. A little birdie told me.
Oh.
So we can save that conversation for later. Sylus, you live such an exciting life. I can't wait to hear next week about what you do.
A whole bunch of
Egg
nothing.
that you're talking about?
Yep. Except, it's alive.
Right, yeah.
Austin, how about you? What have you been doing this past week?
I also started a new anime. I started Demon Slayer. That's been really cool.
Ooh.
Then I also been playing World of Warcraft a lot.
Man, it sounds like... am I the only one that gets outside? Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, I do for work and everything. This week, all I pretty much did at work was we were driving the Humvees around. So we had to do road miles. So we had to get 20 miles every month. And we were doing every single one of our vehicles. And so I had to go out and drive that stuff. It's kind of a long process and everything. It's not very exciting. But it does take a lot of time, so...
You have me on the edge of my seat, but we're going to move on to the next, our main topic of the day. Speaking of outdoors, as you know, I am kind of the alpha Chad of the group. And I want to talk today, the reason I brought you here, I want to talk about sports. That's going to be our theme of the day is going to be sports.
Okay.
And I have a couple questions, but before I get into the specifics, I want to know what is each of your favorite sports? Because you know mine. I'm a baseball man. I love numbers. I like sitting in stands for an hour waiting for something to happen. You get your sunflower seeds. You just sit there and you heckle a pitcher, and that's a good time. Sometimes somebody hits a ball. It's fun. How about you, Austin? I'll go to you.
Yeah, I would say...
You big sport man?
Yeah, football is my thing. I played that at school and everything. I don't really watch it too much unless it's like a big game going on or anything. But I used to love. I was always big on about like just hitting the other guy and everything. It's a lot of fun.
So, what position did you play?
I played a couple positions. So I played nose guard, and I also played linebacker.
Wait, nose guard?
Yeah. So you have center on the offense, and then you have nose guard on the defense. So it's pretty much the guy who's adjacent, or pretty much across the line on the other team.
Okay, yeah. Shows how much I know about football.
Yeah. And then linebacker is the guy who's like right behind those. There's a line of people who are right in front of that, and then behind them are the linebackers in the back of the line. Get it?
Yeah, I know their defense.
Yeah.
They kind of intercept some of the throws and whatnot. But
the guys who are pretty much in charge of hitting the other people.
Okay, now the answer I really want to know. Sylus, how about you?
Oh boy, I hate sports. So I'm gonna have to say, do esports count? I guess.
That's a good question that I want to get into. So, I want to know, where do you guys draw the line for what is a sport? What is your definition of what a sport is? Because that's one thing that I've really been wondering a lot lately is, what constitutes a sport? And I want to hear your definitions, and then I'm going to run through some examples, and we're going to see if you think they're sports or not.
Okay. If you don't mind, I think I can start with that one.
Yeah?
So my definition of a sport, we get a little technical, is pretty much, to me, is an activity that encourages competition and teamwork. And I know there are some sports that don't have, there's just one person, right? You think of tennis and stuff. So there's not like teamwork is not the biggest thing, but mostly it's like you're competing with someone in an activity.
Okay.
That's pretty basic right there.
Yep. And this goes without saying. We're not looking up like the Webster's definition of the word sports. Like, I'm sure we could easily figure out what's a sport and what's not by that definition. I want to know what you think. I want to know about your mind. Mm-hmm. And how about you, Sylus?
Well, I have to agree with the competition aspect and making sure you beat the opponent to a bloody pulp and making sure you win.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Any good part of a tennis match is beating the other person to a bloody pulp. Okay, so I'm gonna ramp up. We're gonna start slow, and then we're gonna get up to some of the more controversial ones. I'm gonna ask you, what is a sport? And speaking of beating to a bloody pulp, this one should be a softball, pun intended. Fighting sports, things like boxing, MMA, are those sports?
100%.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need to have too much discussion. Okay. Here we're gonna start slowly ramping up to the more controversial ones. Ping pong. Is ping pong a sport?
Yes, actually.
I'd say yes.
I would say yes.
Okay. Is bowling a sport?
Yep. I would say bowling is a sport.
Well, Sylus is a little more hesitant. Walk us through your thought process. What are you going through right now, Sylus?
Yeah, I guess you could say it's a sport, but I don't know. I don't get bowling as a competition, or at least a sports thing to see on TV. Because, I mean, it's pretty boring to watch.
But just
I'd
because
rather
it's boring
play
to
it
watch
myself.
doesn't mean it's a sport. I mean, you have ESPN and ESPN2, and they show like some of the lesser like watched sports, especially during the pandemic when they couldn't have anything. Like I was seeing them play cornhole.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. I've seen the cornhole ones. I've seen professional bowling. Like, it's insane. I think the setup's kind of insane because they just have the 2 lanes, and normally, I don't know, I don't follow it too much. I've only seen it a couple times on TV. But they have the 2 lanes, and then they like take turns, and there's always 2 of them on there. And like I think I don't know, that one always kind of ifs me too, because it's like bowling can be a very much an individual thing, and I get you're trying to compete to get a higher number than the other person, but you're not really interacting with them. Like, it makes no difference if you're playing a bowling match like by yourself and with someone in the moment. Like, you should theoretically have the same setup either way.
Mm-hmm. So,
I get where
I
was saying
for like where you think you're hitting the line.
No, I think it's still a sport, but like I get the Silas's kind of hesitation of it about like
it has to require like a direct involvement with the other party. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Yeah, because I'm saying because bowling could be very much like oh, I'm just doing it by myself kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because when you think of sports, you think of like 2 teams or 2 people competing against each other, and like that technically is what's happening in bowling, but like they're not really interacting.
Okay.
And I've always saw bowling as more of a hobby, I guess, at least in my personal experience. It's just something to go enjoy doing.
Well, sports can be hobbies. Ping pong can be a
I
hobby.
know, but ping pong too, for at least somewhat. Ping pong gets pretty intense though, and it's pretty enjoyable to watch. Bowling though, I get bored
Okay.
of watching people bowl. Because it's
I'm
like,
gonna
I'd rather just go play this myself, you know?
That's a sign of a good sport. I'd rather go do it myself. So I'm going to continue through the list because we've got quite a few to get through.
Okay.
The next one is weightlifting a sport.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
See, and now you're contradicting yourself right there.
Well, because I'm thinking about it more.
You're thinking of only the physical thing at that point, and not the actual the competition. So you were just saying that that could have just been Jade, but you were thinking that like you're not really working against somebody else there. But weightlifting, you're not either. You're just lifting your weights, and you're trying to lift higher than the other person.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, weightlifting, no.
No?
It's not a sport.
No.
What?
Wait,
Or at
so
least-
bowling is,
Bowling
but
is a
weightlifting
sport.
isn't.
I never said bowling was.
Okay.
I consider both of those more like hobbies than they should not be
Have you-
a literal sports event.
Have you seen like the weightlifting competitions and stuff like that?
Like once.
Do you want to tell any of those dudes that
Strongman,
weightlifting's not a
you
sport?
wanna tell the mountain that he is not good enough to be in a sport.
I'm gonna say
You want
he's
to go
the
after
the strongest man ever, but I don't.
You wanna go up to
care
his
if
face
it's-
and say,
you're good at a
"Oh,
sport."
Tell Arnold
You wanna go up to his face and
Schwarzenegger
say, "Oh,
he's
at least
a
I'm not
good
wasting-"
sportsman? Like,
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger used enhancements back in the day, so I mean he cheated.
we're not talking.
Do you want to go up to one of them? You want to go up to one of them and say, "Oh, I'm not wasting my day with a hobby all day. At least I have a job." Are you saying you'd do that?
No. Look, if it is your passion to weightlift, I am not going to stop you from doing it. All I'm saying is, in my opinion, it's not a sport.
Okay.
Okay.
If you enjoy
How-
doing it, go ahead and do it.
How about... I want to hear from Silas first on this next one, too. Because Austin usually is quick to ring in. How about shooting and archery? We can kind of lump those two together. Like shooting a rifle at targets or archery at the targets.
Well, no, because I'd have to set it in the same category as bowling and weightlifting.
And I assume Austin?
So yeah, they're sports. They're in the Olympic Games. Like you're gonna tell those people who competed in the Olympic Games that they're not engaging in sports?
I mean, you're just standing there shooting a firearm. Would you really consider that a sport?
If you're competing against someone else, yes, they have created like a regiment of training for it. They've created an organization based on rules. You've got 2 teams or individuals competing against each other. It's a sport.
But didn't you say there should be some sort of activity involved, like doing something?
No, I did. I stated that there needs to be a level of competition against another person.
I say no. I think shooting is pretty stupid for an Olympic sport, to be honest.
Okay.
Okay, this next one's gonna be fun. Bull riding. Is bull riding a sport?
No. God, no. That's a spectacle.
Austin, is bull riding a sport?
It's not my favorite one because, you're literally just holding onto a bull.
But you're competing with other people.
It is a competition between a bunch of people. So
Okay, follow-up question.
Yes.
Follow-up question I have for Austin. If bull riding is a sport, is the bull considered an athlete?
No.
Ooh.
Wait, what? You said no?
It's property.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, the bull's
Even though the
property.
bulls have stats?
They buy it or they get loaned it from a ranch that specifically breeds them to become bulls for bull riding and everything. So, no, they're just property at that point.
Okay, so you see it in the same vein as a baseball or a football, where it's just like a tool in the sport as
Yep.
opposed to. Okay. Next one. I think I know both of your answers are already. Fishing.
No.
Yeah. If you're competing against everybody else, because there's the rules to it. Whoever catches the biggest fish or the most amount of fish within a certain time limit wins. That's a sport.
Yeah, that's always been weird to me. The competitive fishing.
Mhm.
Like, they just get out on boats and see who can catch the most fish or the biggest
Right.
fish or the most total mass or whatever. And, it seems like a very luck-based thing. Or,
Yeah,
I don't know.
But it
Because
also,
it is.
I mean, you're thinking about luck and everything. That's always a factor. But you also got to think about how much knowledge and education these guys have to get into. Where are the highest chances of me finding fish? What lure?
That's fair.
What bait? What techniques? What poles are going to work? That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair. I haven't really thought about that. It just feels like there's a little more uncertainty compared to other sports.
Mhm.
And I know every sport's going to have some kind of randomness to it, but feels like fishing. You're just trying to hedge your bets and do as best as you can
Right.
given the circumstances. Yeah. Which I guess there's something to appreciate and respect about somebody who can adapt quickly as opposed to, somebody that's really good at doing their things in a sterile environment. Okay, this one I'm curious to see Austin's answer, so I want him to go first. Is chess a sport?
See, now this is where it gets tough.
It's 2 people competing each
It
other
is
with a
two-
set
it
of
is
rules.
You have 2 people competing against each other. Yep, you're correct. This is a tough one, and the reason for it is because it seems like it's more of a game of entertainment to me, but I am going to have to say yes, that
Begrudgingly say yes that chess is a sport.
could be considered a sport.
Okay, Sylus. You just hit us with that no already.
It's a no.
Yep, I knew it. Okay, so this question's going to be aimed more at Sylus, because Austin, I already kind of would know your answer on this. Sylus, is chess boxing a sport?
What?
And if you don't know what chess boxing is, it's one of the greatest things ever invented. It's where 2 dudes, or I guess it doesn't matter the gender, two people. They do 3 minutes of chess, bell rings, put on gloves, get in the ring, 3 minutes of boxing, bell rings, go over to the chessboard, 3 minutes of chess, and so on and so forth, until either somebody's KO'd or somebody gets a checkmate. One or the other. Is that a sport? And considering you said boxing is a sport and chess is not a sport.
So yeah, that's where you got me here.
And Austin would obviously answer yes to that because he said both are yes, I assume.
Yeah, I just don't want to change Silas's mind or anything. So.
Well, he's already trapped himself with his own logic, so we can't, like, no matter how long of a rope we throw him,
he's... like a 50-50?
No, you can't. It's yes or a no.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, like, Silas, like, you have to think about this logically, like, so if you think boxing is a sport, right?
So is it a sport?
Do you think boxing is a sport?
Here's what I'll say. Here's where I'm going to be that asshole. I'm going to say those minutes of them boxing is considered a sport. When they are playing chess, they are on break.
So they're on break. Not even it's not a sport. They're on break.
They're taking a break from the boxing. That's what they're doing.
So if you win by checkmate, you didn't win a sport. But if you win by KO, you won the sport.
Yes.
I thought about it, but I didn't know if you would actually say that. I love it.
It's how I'm getting out of this.
That's fair. I think that's the only way Silas can get out of that, with being consistent and with also remaining a shred of his dignity. Because if he backtracked on either the chess or the boxing one,
chess boxing, that is the stupidest thing I've ever freaking heard of.
You've never heard of chess boxing?
No, that is the first time I've ever.
I think because there's some like interesting things like would you focus on the chess or the boxing?
Right.
Because like you could throw like Mike Tyson in there, but like I'm sure you could checkmate him pretty quickly.
Well, that's if you last 3 minutes in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, but like if you do chess first, can you checkmate him in 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, could you be like an Einstein level like brain and checkmate somebody in 3 minutes and never get to the boxing portion, or vice versa, where you're just like you murder a guy in the ring and you never get to the chess portion?
So here's the question: do you want to lose in a sport or win at a stupid game?
Now, what I want to know is, so what if they get a draw during the chess game? Do they restart the chess game?
I don't know. I don't know the exact rules of chess boxing. I'd have to look them up.
That's pretty interesting.
It needs to become like a bigger thing. I know it was like, I don't know like if there's like a league or anything. I know people did it for fun.
Where are they doing this? Are they doing this in America?
I don't know. I think maybe just for recreational.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't know if there's a league.
I would say if it ends in a draw, you have to duke it out.
No bell. Just keep going.
You have to put them gloves on and just fight.
Or does it go to judges? If it goes in stalemate, does it go to the judges? Because I assume there's judges, because like
how
boxing
many rounds
matches.
are there in the boxing?
Yeah, if there is no rounds, and if the game ends in a
Well, if
draw,
there's no rounds,
then that's the end of the fight.
Well, there has to be rounds. Like you can't just go forever.
Yeah.
Well, would you say the 3-minute sessions are each round?
I don't know, man. You're asking the logistics of a sport. I don't know.
Chess, right? Like, if I play chess, three minutes a round, or 3 minutes of playing chess isn't like a whole lot of time for me, right? Because I have to think everything. But people who play chess all the time, who are really good at it, which I'm assuming these guys would be pretty good at chess, 3 minutes could be a couple games.
Well, but like chess, like I think you're overestimating like chess professionals. They just still take their time and think moves through.
Right, but what if they're giving 10-second timers, right? They have to make a turn within 10 seconds. I'm just stating, they could do a lot of moves in that time. So you could technically have a game over in one round.
That's what I was getting at earlier. It was like, what if you're like an Einstein that like never can box and like if I get in the ring I'd die in the first minute, but I'm really good at chess and I'm confident I can checkmate anybody in 3 minutes.
what if your opponent in chess, let's say a Mike Tyson type, who's just muscle, has probably never played chess in his life. He plays so randomly that it just throws off the Einstein-brained man. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And then the 3 minutes ends and they have to get in the ring.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
That's how I play chess.
Hmm. The enemy can't know what you're doing if I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly. What? My queen's all the way in the middle? Come at me, dude.
Hmm. Come take it. Okay, next sport. I've got a couple more on the list. Bobsledding.
Yeah.
No.
It's in the Olympics. It's a sport.
Hang on. Your thing is if it's in the Olympics, it's a sport.
Well, I'm just stating other people obviously believe it's a sport.
Was
for it to
wrestling
be
a
in the
sport? Because they
Olympics.
took that out of the
I'm
Olympics.
not just because it's in the Olympics doesn't make it a sport. Like, I'm basing that off of what I said earlier, that there has to be a level of competition. It is a competition that people engage in, right? Bobsledding. They're engaging
Wasn't that the
in to be
Olympics?
the fastest they can be down that pipe.
Is there any event in the Olympics that isn't a competition like that?
No, that's the whole point of the Olympics.
So okay. So I just want confirmation that you think, yes or no, anything that's in the Olympics is a sport.
Everything that is in the Olympics is a sport, but it's not a sport
Not
because
every-
it's in the Olympics.
Okay.
It's in the Olympics because it's a sport.
Okay, that makes sense to me. And Silas, you said it's not a sport?
No.
And same logic or different logic?
Well,
Because you got multiple people on the team in this one. And they're doing something physical.
are they?
You even know what bobsledding is, Silas.
You got 4 dudes in goofy helmets sitting in a sled and turning it.
They're just
Right side.
they're just sitting in a sled.
Yeah. I don't watch the Winter Olympics. No, it's not. No. It's stupid. It's another
Okay.
stupid one.
We don't listen. Since Silas doesn't watch the Winter Olympics, is curling a sport? This one's a hot topic. Everybody loves to talk about curling.
Do they?
Do you know what curling is, Silas?
Yes.
Can you explain it to us?
It's where that dude skis up all weird and he throws a thing and then people with brooms slow it down to try and get in the center for the maximum amount of points.
Mm-hmm. And when you're against another team, do you share the same target or do you have different targets?
Oh god, share?
Yep, you do share. That's correct. Normally you share. I don't know if that's like a hard and fast thing. So is it a sport? You have 2 teams there. They're competing against each other. They're doing physical stuff. They're competing on the same board.
I would say yeah. Like a yeah with a question mark?
Why the question mark?
Probably because it's just such a stupid thing.
You
I'm like,
just because
can
you
really
just because you think it's
consider that a
dumb.
sport?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
I would say yeah, it's a sport.
Yeah, I agree. It's a sport.
Okay. This next one, I think Silas is going to have to think a little bit about. Motorsports. Things like NASCAR, F1, biking, like motorcycles, like racing, things like that.
NX,
Yeah.
motocross, and all that.
Motocross, MX, yeah. Are those sports?
Much like monster trucks, I would consider it more of a spectacle.
Hmm.
What?
Austin?
You're comparing racing. in any type of thing to monster trucks?
Mainly NASCAR.
Silas,
But the difference.
I want to ask you something. Do you think monster trucks could be a sport?
No.
Because they have
It's a spectacle.
they have things that are just like bull riding with monster trucks. They're trying to get as many points as they can, stuff like that. But you're gonna say people racing bikes isn't a sport. Like I'm talking.
Not like Lance Armstrong bikes. We're talking like motorcycles. I want to make that distinction. We're talking about
You think
motor
people
sports.
Driving cars or racing motorbikes would not be a sport. And
No.
I don't want you to think
Just-
Indy
yeah,
500. It's a race with more than just left turns. That's not a sport.
I'd say Indy cars maybe qualifies more as a sport, but NASCAR and that stuff as a spectacle.
Because of the number of turns, or what?
Mainly just because for Indy cars, it looks like, they're putting a lot more effort than taking a bunch of left turns.
There's way more.
Because, at the end of the day, NASCAR is just watching a bunch of dudes in cars take forward left turns, and that's it. Who cares? I would say Indy cars, more of a sport. NASCAR and all that, I'd say more of a spectacle. I would probably include motocross, leaning more towards sport. But NASCAR, no. Spectacle.
That's
You're
one of the
there to see
wildest
the
things I
loud
think I've
cars.
heard you say. Like, you're adding all these
Yeah.
distinctions to all these different motorsports based on how many turns they do.
Well, mainly just because NASCAR, for NASCAR, yes, I'm basing it 100% on the turns.
You're saying that if a thing is a sport, it's based on how complex it is. At that point.
He's saying the effort, I think.
The effort?
Don't let me put words in your mouth, but I think he was saying the effort.
Yeah.
How much
I would
effort
say
is needed to be a
motocross
sport?
guys are putting in more effort than NASCAR.
What level of effort is needed? Where's the
Not
fine
falling
line?
off your bike.
What was that?
Not falling off your bike.
So the second you fall off your bike, you're no longer an athlete. Is that
Now
what
you
you're
are
saying?
putting words in my mouth.
I'm asking, is that what you're saying?
No. Alright.
And then what does falling off your bike have to do with it? Got you there.
I'm just, look, all I'm saying is, IndyCar, sure. You can consider that a sport. Why not? NASCAR, no. I don't know why is everyone defending NASCAR? Who cares?
Because there's no real distinction. It's a competition. They're like, I think you're just thinking that they just like they just roll out of bed. They're like, oh, I gotta go do the NASCAR thing. Like, no, they pour their hearts and souls into it. Like some people do. Like they have full teams and jobs and they train for it and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
they pour their
So
heart
do the
and soul.
shuffleboard players.
and
So do
Silas-
the weightlifters, and I still consider that not a sport.
But you're sitting there saying like, oh, it's based on the effort. And like these people are pouring their entire lives into this.
Have
When
you
was the last
seen,
thing-
like,
when was the
an
last time I saw you
IndyCar
put-
racetrack?
Silas, when was the last time anyone seen you put any effort into anything? 100%.
Now we're
When's the
getting
last time you
personal.
put any effort into anything?
Yeah, that's
I'm
a
asking you a
oof.
That doesn't have anything to do with Dark Souls.
Well, I played football in, like, 6th grade.
Okay, so it's been like 14 years since you put any effort into anything?
I mean, 100%? A couple things.
I feel like
But
we don't need to
mainly
keep
no.
attacking
I'm sorry,
Silas.
but-
Let's
Yeah, I am getting attacked over NASCAR! I want you to realize it's over NASCAR!
Silas doesn't like
He doesn't
NASCAR.
realize
Get him.
Where you're from, Silas. You're not only like upsetting me. You're going to be upsetting the entire 30 people who may watch this.
The
Oh
ones
no,
and
I'm
ones of
upsetting
people listening.
the one NASCAR fan we
that
have
one guy
in the
in
audience.
Netherlands, he's going to be so upset.
Shout out to that guy. Okay, here is the final one before I move on to our next little question I have about sports. This one is going to be controversial. Esports. Video games.
Son of a
League of
bitch.
Legends. It has sports in the title. It's two people competing. Or
That
two
was such
people
a
or
tacked on
teams.
title.
They're competing against each other with known rules. Is it a sport?
No.
So
I know what you're going to say. I'm curious what Austin's
so
going to say.
This it literally has to be put on the same level as chess. Because the whole reason I didn't want to put it there was that because it was just like chess is just a game, right? But
Baseball's just a
baseball's
game.
Just a game. Football's just a game. It's all just a game. And you're competing against people, so I'm gonna have to stick with my definition of it and say yes.
Okay, I have a follow-up. I didn't have this in my notes, but I thought of it. Is speedrunning a sport? Speedrunning
No.
a video game? I know what you're gonna say. Negative Nancy over here. I want to know what Austin's gonna say because I want to hear him struggle to say
Is
yes.
there an organization?
Yeah, there's leaderboards online and stuff. There's like a main website they use,
But
Yeah, there is.
and they put hundreds, thousands of hours into this. And they compete
is it
against
an
each other for the
actual
best time.
organization, or you just put leaderboards?
It's like there is like a
Like they have
centralized.
rules
I don't know if it's official or
and
not.
everything?
Yeah, there are like the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild
So it's a
speedruns.
structured
Like
thing. Okay.
yeah, well, like I want to give you an example. So Breath of the Wild, we've all played that game, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Breath of the Wild on Switch or Wii U, whatever you want to play. There is a category. There's multiple categories, and usually games have multiple categories. And there's one category that I want to use as an example. It's called the 100% category. That means you get every shrine, divine beast. You do basically everything. You get all the Korok seeds. You know, all 900 of them. So there are rules in place. They are that you get 2 breaks throughout, 2 9-hour breaks. You can use them whenever you want. You can use them to sleep, eat, whatever. When you start your break, that's break number 1, and you can choose to end it whenever. And same with break number 2. You only get the 2 breaks. If you have to sleep or eat or use the bathroom in any other time, timer's running. And it starts and stops at very specific points. So there are rules to this. That's just to give you a concrete example, Austin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the timer starts when the game starts, or I don't know
So-
the exact rules. Don't hurt me. And it ends when you put the final sword, strike, and Ganon, or arrow, or however that game ends. I haven't played it in a while.
Yeah. So basically, I have to label that as the same thing as an esport. So yes.
You begrudgingly say
I
yes.
have to begrudgingly say yes.
No, you
I
don't.
do. I have to. stick
So
with
if
what
you
my-
had to choose,
Mhm.
if you had to choose, would you want that to be a sport or not? Or not? Not. I guess no. Let me rephrase that question because that came off a little bad. In your mind, if you didn't have that definition, would you consider it a sport? Like personally, I know you're trying to stay consistent, but in your personal beliefs, do you think that's a sport?
No.
Interesting.
I have to think logically though. I can
Yeah.
separate the two things, and I believe that's when Sylus is also doing that. He's going mostly off of his personal belief system, and I've come up to a lot of like learning about things, especially that sometimes things don't agree with our personal beliefs, and that's okay. So.
hmm I like how Silas made a definition for what is a sport and then threw it out the window
100%.
immediately.
His
Well, yeah, when it comes to NASCAR, everything's
his
up
logic,
there.
his logic of what a sport is, he thought was what he was personal belief, but he realized that that's not actually his personal belief.
Didn't I say at the beginning of this that I hate sports?
Yes, you did. So that
Yeah.
leads me to my final question regarding sports.
Real quick, though,
What-
on the esports thing,
Yeah.
I may not think it's a sport, but boy, is it sometimes fun to watch.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
like all these, like not all, like to it. Like I think people doing anything well, like to the mastery level, is fun to watch. Like a game I know nothing about, or even like bowling. It's just cool to see like people that like have mastered their domain being able to do their stuff. That's why it's so much fun to watch the Olympics, because it's just like people doing insane stuff.
Mm-hmm. I would just put it out there that just because there are people in what I have deemed a sport, does not make them athletes. Athletes are an entirely different category and have a different definition.
Ooh, I kind of want to go down this rabbit hole.
If you're playing,
I kind of want to know what
Sylus, you are not an athlete.
Even if
what
you
about
were
the guys who play StarCraft?
You're not athletes.
But they're
What is an
sweating
athlete?
up a
If you're
storm.
playing chess,
Hang
you're not
on.
an athlete.
What is an athlete? What is the definition of an athlete?
So,
I want to get that
Well, I
set.
don't have the Webster definition.
No,
But
none of this is Webster. I said that at the beginning. I want to know your definition of an athlete.
An athlete is someone who's showing athleticism. That basic. Someone who can exhibit athleticism. And
What is athleticism then? That begs the
the
question.
ability to physically do something with your body.
Like clicking a
Right,
mouse
I knew
or
you
moving
were
a
gonna
controller
say
really
that.
fast
I
and
knew you were
specific.
gonna say that. That
Yeah,
is
literally
I-
what
I'm
StarCraft
tr-
players do.
I'm trying to follow your logic here.
Because I would say that people who are, because I would even go so far as to say like someone who's driving a car. Like does that consider them to be athletes? Like if you're playing football, you're an athlete.
If they're doing it with precision, yes.
If you're a boxer, you're an athlete. I think that's more about my personal belief of who an athlete is. I am curious.
So you're saying
I
they
do
have to
wanna
put
look
in,
up
like-
the actual definitions of these things, though. Because
I mean, I can do that right now if you want, if you can- wait a second.
What a bunch of old guys decided was alcohol.
I can do that real fast
Yeah,
if you want. I can Google it.
Yes, let's see how wrong Webster
I wanna
is.
hear you,
We're gonna
what
look
do you
up
think
sport
about
first, and then we're going to do athlete. Yeah, while we do that, Silas.
So I'd say, and as much as I say 90% of the things that have been deemed sports I consider not sports, they are athletes. I consider an athlete someone who trains to be good at that one thing that they want to be good at. And trained, like let's say I'm going to use a video game for example because whatever. Let's say that StarCraft player. He's been playing it since he was a kid, StarCraft 1. And he's been training every day, getting better, those keys per minute. It's a baseline athlete, but sure, you could consider that like somewhat of an athlete.
You contradicted yourself earlier. It's talked about there needed to be like a form of effort going in to consider something a sport. But then now you're over here giving these guys all this effort, calling them athletes.
Wait, so you guys have opposite
Yes.
problems.
I'll be honest, Silas,
Where
I think
you have athletes
your
in
stuff sounds like
non-sports.
You're just trying to make yourself sound better to yourself.
No, I think you're both.
No,
I
I'm
think
not.
you're both idiots. Hang on,
Well, that's
one of
true.
One of you is saying that no, they're not sports, but they're athletes, and the other one's saying all these are sports, but they're not athletes that compete in them. So like I'm just.
I would consider that weightlifter who's not doing a sport is an athlete
Okay, I agree.
because he's training
But
for it.
I agree with the sport, yeah.
Just because I deem it not a sport, who cares what I deem anything?
I do. I care.
I care.
Of course you guys care, because you just want to contradict my opinion.
It's because I love you.
But NASCAR?
Okay. I have the
pushing it.
definitions pulled up. I just wanted to point out like how
How wrong are both of us?
both of you are like so the definition of a sport. This is from dictionary.com. Both of these are from dictionary.com. A sport is an athletic activity requiring skill or physical prowess, and often of a competitive nature.
Okay.
So that implies it doesn't have to be competitive,
Right.
but it's an athletic activity
Yeah.
requiring skill or physical prowess.
So now going with the logic of I understand that is the definition of a sport. Like if that's what everybody believes in, that's what we have deemed to be the category or the how we describe sports. then a lot of the things that I was calling a sport, I would not call them sports anymore. And it would,
I think the opposite. I think everything is a sport.
okay.
Yeah, when you put it that way. If
So wait,
they
so you guys
really
are
want to,
hang on.
if they really want to consider putting in effort or whatever, some skill or whatever the fuck
Athleticism.
you
Okay,
just
so
said,
I need to know the definition of an athlete.
then yeah, sure, everything's a sport.
I need to know
Hang
the
on.
definition of an athlete now, because that does directly affect
Okay.
the definition of sport.
I'll tell you, but I want to point out how that definition changed both of your opinions to the opposite. Now Austin's questioning what is a sport, and Sylus is like, oh yeah, everything's sport. Yeah, everything. But that definition, everything
This is
is.
because we're idiots.
So an athlete.
By skill or physical prowess, you could say that loser StarCraft player has skill.
So Austin wants to know what the definition of an athlete is on dictionary.com. It is a person trained or gifted in exercises or contests involving physical agility, stamina, or strength. Another definition is a participant in a sport, exercise, or game requiring physical skill.
So then, yeah, that poor StarCraft kid who went to a tournament
Okay.
is officially
So-
an athlete.
And he's playing a
Chess
sport?
players get automatically knocked off. Chess players, you're not
No.
athletes.
Why not? It takes skill.
Mental skill. People without physical
still a
ability
mental
can play chess,
workout.
Silas. A vegetable could play chess, Silas, if they had a brain.
I mean, if a monkey can play Pong, yeah.
But I was just thinking that
So
there's
it's
a game
chips
that
in his brain.
doesn't necessarily require you to do anything physically. So that would knock them off.
I mean, you could just stand there in baseball in the batter's box, get hit, take your base, and you're part of the team. Like,
do what?
Yeah, you could be the bench guy in basketball and never play in a game, and you could still be considered
But
an
does he
athlete.
like I mean, like you could play in the game and just stand there. Like, you're not doing any physical activity, but you're an athlete.
I mean, do they practice and everything for baseball? Like,
But you practice
just
for
'cause he's not
chess.
being used in a game
Yeah.
doesn't mean that he's not necessarily like not practicing or doing anything. You know what I mean? Maybe he just sucks.
I was given a different example than Silas. I guess I want to differentiate between that. I'm saying, let's say I'm on a baseball team. I'm in right field. I literally just stand there the entire time. I don't move. When it's my turn to bat, I just stand in the batter box. If it hits me, I take my base and I just stand there. If it doesn't, I take my strikes or balls and I just deal with it. I just don't even move. Am I an athlete? I'm participating in a sport.
He never catches a ball, never hits a ball, nothing.
He's just standing
No.
there. He just
No, he's
stands
not.
there.
Not an athlete. He showed no athletic skill.
So if somebody is on a baseball team and they miss every pitch and they don't get any balls hit in their direction, so they just don't end up doing nothing and contributing nothing to the game, are they an athlete
Is
in
he
that
trying?
game? Yes, he's trying to hit the ball.
He's considered an athlete.
But he has the exact same
His skill may
contribution
be
levels as
terrible.
the guy that's standing there.
But it's there. It's getting improved on, hopefully.
What if you're like half-hearted? What if you half-heartedly go for the game?
Then he's not engaging in the way an athlete would be.
But is he an athlete?
Yes.
I feel like we're
We're
really
getting
into
to
semantics,
some
and I'm sorry about that.
philosophical parts of this.
Yeah, I didn't mean to get philosophical when I was I didn't even plan for the athlete discussion in my notes. I just have one more question, and it's mainly aimed at Silas regarding sports. And this one, there is no right or wrong answer.
boy.
And
To
Austin,
you two
you
there
can
is.
Austin, you can answer this too. I expect you to answer this. You both said you don't watch sports or don't really enjoy sports. What would make you enjoy sports more? Like, what would get you to watch a sport on TV or in a real life? What could they do to gain you as an audience?
Nothing.
So they do nothing, and you'll start
No,
watching?
I mean they could try whatever they wanted. It would never get me to watch.
What if they
that
replace
sport.
all the players with topless women, and they gave everybody free beer in
I
the
don't
stands?
care.
Really?
Silas, have you
Now, if they
heard of,
replaced them all with robots, I would check
you
it
heard
out.
of,
No, that's
the
why. Okay, so
lingerie football,
hang on.
Silas? Where they had women
Yes, I've
in,
heard
like,
of that, and I don't
Okay.
care.
Hang on. I want to get back to Silas's point. I don't want to leave that. That was something. You just said something that would convince you to check it out.
Yeah,
Robot
but when there's
sports.
no people involved, I'll absolutely watch it.
So, but there'd have to be people making the robots, so there would be people involved at some point.
The people making the robots are not going to be out in the field. or the dugout
No,
or
but
wherever.
they're involved though.
Yeah, but you're mainly watching for the robots.
Yeah, but so you would watch a robotic league of sports.
Yes. I don't think. Did you guys play Detroit Become Human?
Yes,
I know
did.
of
I played
Detroit.
all the way through.
So, Austin, you know that part where they started introducing androids into
Mhm.
sports? I would watch that if it was all androids.
Right, just because you're interested in androids.
Well, because they're
Right,
robots.
you're interested in robots like that. That's what you're interested in. You're not interested in the sport. You want to see robots doing things. That's the only reason you would watch it. You would watch robots paint, wouldn't you?
No, that'd be boring.
Oh, goodness.
A robot Bob Ross would not be entertaining.
Yeah, it
Yes,
would.
it would.
He couldn't paint!
He'd be like a printer. Or a scanner. He'd be like, shh.
Detroit Becomes Human proves that androids could paint. It's like the
Yeah, but
first
he was
30
using
minutes.
emotions.
So they'd have emotions. What?
No,
I don't get.
'cause then you stop being a robot. Robots
We're-
are not sentient.
We're straying really
We
far
are
off the idea
extremely
of
straying.
sports. I want to
Let's
hear
move
Austin's
on.
answer.
You need to watch sports more.
Yes.
Probably would have to do probably more if I need more social aspects with like the people in my life. Like I don't go watch anything. So like if I'm not interested in something, I won't typically watch it. Unless someone is like really interested in it and I want to be able to converse with them about it, then maybe I would watch it. But, like I watch some boxing
Okay, so-
stuff, and I watch some like UFC fights every once in a while. Typically, it depends on who's going or if I'm not doing anything and I'm feeling bored, you know. So it's not like I never do watch something.
Yeah. But you're more interested in having a solid group of people to discuss with
Correct.
and
Yeah,
enjoy it with.
That's what it's all about.
Okay.
to me.
Okay, that makes sense. My answer, I've always been, I know it might not be the most ethical, but I think it's a fun idea. I've always liked the idea of like drug leagues. So you'll still have like the normal like I keep using MLB in baseball because I like baseball.
Oh,
So
you're talking about the cheaters.
Like you'll have a normal league where you play by the normal rules that they currently have, and then you have like an anything goes league where like you can do whatever you want to your body, and you play baseball, and it's just see how insane you can get. And obviously they'd have to be willing and sign waivers, and like obviously there would be risks and whatnot, and that's where the ethics come into it. And I'm sure there's a huge conversation to be had about ethics, but I like the idea of an anything goes kind of league. But I understand the arguments for why it would never happen, and I've long since accepted them.
I like the idea, but it would still probably bore me because at the end of the day, I'm still watching baseball.
But what if like it's a dude roiding out on first base?
So if he let's say that guy struck out and he just ran up to the pitcher and hit him with his bat.
Oh,
I
fights
would
are
probably
happening.
check out that. I would
Fights
check
are
out that
constant.
clip on YouTube.
Fights would be constant in the roid league.
Yeah, it's very unethical at that point. But like also like who cares about ethics? So I think it would be a lot.
But like if
fun to
everyone's
watch.
consenting,
You know, is those people want to do the stuff to their bodies and put them in a league together. And
but
listen to them?
then it gets to the point. But then it gets to the point: are we encouraging them to do
Yes.
it? And then like
Yeah,
that just kind of
100%.
leads down the whole
We are
ethical.
encouraging them to do it.
Are they getting paid as much as the other athletes that aren't roiding out?
It would depend on probably how many people
Yeah,
tune in, which I imagine would be a
the
lot.
monetary value of the product.
So ethical discussion. We can save that for another time. I think the idea is fun to think about. Like I said, I don't think it would ever realistically be a thing, but I think it's fun to think about.
Yeah, ESPN, if you're listening, we want drug fights.
ESPN 8, the Ocho. I'm here. I'm here for you. I want to be a commenter on the MLB Roid League. I'll be your.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I will. I'll do it for free. Just set me up in a booth. I'll watch it. I'll do it for free. Only on the Ocho though.
ESPN, start a robot, like, cage fighting thing.
John Madden, if you're listening.
Possibly check it out.
John Madden, if you're listening, I beg you.
Is he even alive?
Okay. I don't know.
I was going to say that. You only said that because we talked about that before, Silas. Where I told
What?
maybe you weren't there, you know. I told Chapin that like John Madden was dead. He was like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, Austin. Every time we talk about John Madden a lot. Every time we play like a sports game, and Austin's all.
a lot.
Yeah, we play a bunch of baseball
Yeah,
games and
sometimes
other
football and,
sport and football. And every time someone brings up John Madden, Austin's like, he's dead. I'm like, no, he's not. And we never can remember who's right.
I know we have to look it up every time. You never know; he could die anytime.
I'll do that right now.
Mhm. Okay.
So, any final thoughts, comments on the sports discussion? I think that was
Yeah,
a good
I think I'm
a good length. I've already blown your brains. We've gotten
Yeah.
philosophical and ethical. Don't take our drug league idea to heart. We don't truly endorse people injecting their bodies with roids or other enhancing substances. We just think it would be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's kind of
That
funny,
is
and
a
if you're
good
getting
one.
offended by it, that makes it even funnier.
Offended by what?
Anything I say.
Let's
Like, literally anything I say.
By the way,
let's sandbag
yeah.
this for now. So
Spoilers, John Madden is in fact alive.
yes, John
At
Madden, if you're listening,
85 years young.
Not bad, not bad.
my man, if you're
He's
listening,
competing in that sport for the oldest people.
John
you
Madden,
gotta
if you're in the
waste it.
Netherlands listening, hit me up. Email.
You know you're
Email
the
me at
number one
bucketcrab,
fan in Netherlands.
bucketcrabbreakdown@gmail.com. Come on. Okay. Let's move on. Austin, what do you have for us? What time of the week is it? I seem to have forgotten.
I hear something that kind of sounds like a little buzz. I think that might be Bug of the Week.
Bug of the week! Bug of the week!
Okay, gentlemen. For today, I have an interesting specimen. Now, during this, I've done a lot of research on bugs, and that brought me to like a philosophical thing. I was thinking, what is a bug? You know what I mean? And I decided, let's get into the science of it. And I found out that like that actually is a thing, that there was like 3 different categories that you could put a bug, or you know, because you think bug, you think insect, that kind of thing. But I think there's 3 different categories, and there is where bugs would go into a category called insects, and then you have like a beetle. So apparently there's the 3 main categories of what we call those organisms that we refer to as bugs or insects and beetles and stuff like that. So like a bug isn't like in our English definitions, you're not wrong calling an insect a bug or a bug an insect, but scientifically you are wrong. So think about that. But talking about things that kind of get called the wrong thing and stuff like that is where I'm getting at here. So we have what is referred to as the velvet ant. Now the velvet ant, they're really interesting because they have like a dense pile of hair, which is kind of like why they call them velvet ants. You know, it looks like they have like this velvet like fur. There's all different kinds of colors because there's over 7,000 different species of these guys. and because they can be black, white, silver, or even gold. And those colors are aposematic, which means that is pretty much the scientific term for an animal or an organism having brightly colors to ward off predators. Then and the cool thing about these velvet ants is that they're not actually ants. That they are they're from the family Mutilidae, which are wasps, and the females are winglets, and they look like ants when they're walking around and everything. But the males actually do have wings.
Oh my god, bro.
Another thing that's cool that I liked about this was that a scientist named Schmidt. He made the Schmidt pain index, and so if you guys don't know anything about the Paine-Schmidt index, it starts at 0, which means there's pretty much like no pain at all, right? And it goes all the way up to 4. There's only one organism that is at 4. Any of you guys think you can guess which one that is?
Holy fuck, man.
The velvet ant.
Nope. Sylus?
Okay.
You there, Sylus?
Well, Jaden
okay.
took my answer.
That's fine. You don't have to
I'm
guess.
just gonna go with velvet ant,
Yeah.
even though it's not.
The bullet ant has the number 4.
I was thinking
it's
bullet
the
ant.
worst thing anyone's ever felt, apparently.
Wait, we're
The
talking about the velvet ant, though.
It's at 3. So it is pretty high up there. And it said that the pain from that, like their sting, can actually last for 30 minutes.
The bull ants suck.
What was that?
So,
Bull ants suck. But we're still on velvet ant.
Velvet ant lasts
Velvet
for
ants,
episode-
yeah.
They
Yeah,
both
they
suck.
do.
it's bullet ant, and yeah. But that's I think you raised. I don't know how I'm still processing it in my mind. Like the idea that it looks like an ant, but it's a wasp because but it doesn't have wings, but it looks like it's just in my mind is, are ants just wingless
Right.
wasps?
Well, no. There is there's a classification for what an ant is. I'm not gonna get into that right now, but they're wasps because the males literally do look like wasps. They have these huge stingers, right? And the females have them too, but the females just don't have wings. And the females are not as furry and brightly colored as the males. So they actually look completely different from each other, which is so like scientists, they actually have a very hard time distinguishing species between these wasps unless they catch them mating, because they can't tell if the male or the female is from the same species or not.
It's kind of wild to me
Yeah,
that you can't
it's
just
crazy. And that's the thing. They found over 7,000 different species of these things. Like, that's pretty crazy.
Are they can they mate with each other, or are there opposite ends of the velvet ant spectrum that are just so different from each other that they are almost completely different species?
I'm not 100% sure on that. Since it did say that they usually rely on them mating with each other to determine species, that would imply that might be one of the determining factors on whether or not there is interspecies reproduction. That could also be based on where they are set in the world, too, because for the distribution of them because they're worldwide, and there's over 400 species that are actually in the North American Southwest. So Lower California, that kind of stuff. So if there's only 400 species in America, in the American Southwest, all over the world there's 6,600 other species. So it basically depends on where they are. So a lot of that point, you're probably not going to have the different species even interacting with each other.
Oh, it's like regional variants.
Oh yeah,
Pokemon.
that probably has to do a lot with the color and stuff like that. They got a cool nickname. Is they're called the cow killers, or cow ants, because they
kill cows.
I was thinking that too, because I was like, well, that sounds crazy, but someone came up with the idea that it stings so much that it could kill a cow. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I think it would be really cool if they could kill a cow, but they can't kill a cow. Their venom, their their venom is has a lower toxicity of that of honeybees.
Yeah, and cows have like
Right.
a high pain tolerance. Like if you ever watch like vets shows on TV where they're like zipping up cow intestines and the cow's just standing there chewing grass and like the
Yeah,
cow they're performing live surgery on that
exactly.
thing.
That's the thing is like there's the scientists are stating that just because we feel a ton of pain doesn't necessarily mean another larger animal would feel the same amount of pain. I doubt cows probably feel that much from these things. And they're not even really that aggressive, and they sting only in defense too. So, like, you don't really have anything to worry about that.
Well, that cow must have done something wrong if it got stung.
But the thing is, like, the cow could there could be no cow that's ever gotten stung by it. Though we just say that because somebody was like, that hurts, that feels as bad as if it would kill a cow. It's like if it would kill a cow, though, wouldn't it kill the human?
That's a good name for a bug.
You know what I mean, though? Like, you know, if you were thinking, oh, that could kill a cow, like, you would be dead unless you were bigger than a cow.
But I don't get like why would you you don't call it an anteater and it doesn't eat ants. Like you should call things what they do.
Right. That's why they call it the velvet.
Why is it a
Yeah,
ring-tailed lemur? Because it has a ring tail.
It is kind of weird why people call them like velvet ants and stuff like that. Probably just because they saw that and
Well,
like,
velvet
that
I
looks like an ant.
understand.
Yeah, velvet because they look like velvet.
Well, and they're
Yeah.
like fuzzy and whatnot. But like
Yeah.
bolt
And
cow
it's-
killers.
The cow killer thing, this is based off of what someone came up with.
I guarantee that was someone thinking, we're gonna make these ants or wasps seem so deadly and badass that
I
let's
guess it
say
goes-
they can kill a cow.
I guess it goes with the theme. It's like, well, it's not really an ant. Well, it can't really kill cows.
Right, yeah.
Well, I guess it's not really velvet, kinda. Like it kind of is. That's kind of a stretch. It's not really a bug. Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And like nothing really matches. The females don't have wings, and males do. That's just kind of like why I thought it was so interesting. Like everything you would think you would know about, like, you know, like if you think everything that you think would sound logical has proven to not be logical for this thing. Nature.
Where did it even get the name? Why did they even start calling it an ant if it's not an ant?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, it's not the scientific name for it. You know, I mean, they're classified as wasps. Someone just saw the female on the ground and said, "Look at that fuzzy ant," and then it stuck.
Oh, so it was some
100%.
idiot.
I bet it could kill a cow.
Like most
I bet it was the same guy.
Woo wee, honey!
Most
Look at this
names
thing.
for anything in the world nowadays, like I would say, like most of them are named by an idiot. You know, like someone said, "Oh, that looks like a fuzzy ant. And it has to be a fuzzy ant," and someone was like, "Yeah, you're right."
Named by idiots. Hey, look, this podcast should be called Bucket
Yeah.
Crab Breakdown. Okay. The joke is, I suggested the name. Okay.
Yeah, another cool
Um,
thing is that so they have what is called a stridulatory organ in their abdomen, which is kind of like what crickets have. So you know how they make that like chirping noise and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
Yep,
they sit there and bark.
They do. They'll make a chirping noise and everything. And they also have a really durable exoskeleton, kind of like our buddy the beetle from last time. They were talking about how like some other scientists they commented on how hard it was to get the steel pin through the wasp into the wall, like on their little like boards that they put their specimens and everything. I thought that was kind of interesting. And then there was a test, an experimental setting for to test the
Wait,
toxicity
what the fuck, man?
of
Holy
the wasp, and they put a bunch of wasps in this like case with two lizards. They put a whiptail lizard and a side-blotched lizard in there. Not wizard, sorry, lizard. And basically, they said that the velvet ants were exhibiting rapid lateral and vertical movements to ward off the attack. And once the attack occurred, because the lizards were trying to eat him because like the side blotch lizards are actually like predators for him. They started stinging the lizards, and the lizard said, "I'm not gonna do this. I'm done with that. Like that hurts really bad." And then they found the lizards dead 24 hours later in the tank. So like, you know, there is some toxicity. They
That
are
poor
pretty
wizard.
bad. I would not want to get stung by a bunch of them. You know.
Well, yeah, if they're on the pain index like that.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's pretty much I have over the Matillidae, the velvet ants. Do you guys have any like questions or any comments that you want to make?
No, I kind of interrupt all the time anyway.
I have one. Was this thing created in a lab?
I doubt it.
Because it sounds like they just took some of the good parts of certain animals or whatever, or bugs, and just threw it all together and said, "Here's your cow killer ant," even though it's a wasp and its exoskeleton is as tough as a beetle.
Next week, Sylus. Yep.
I'm excited.
Next thing you're gonna tell me he can shoot webs.
Next week you're gonna tell me he has a gun.
Okay. That was bug of the week.
Okay. Bug of the week.
Bug of the week.
Okay. It is now time for Sylus. What is your
Welcome.
segment called?
Bro, I got it, man.
To Silas's corner of
This is trouble.
semi-uninformed opinions. But this time, well, actually, probably every time. Today we are discussing an anime I watched, as I brought up earlier, Jujutsu Kaisen, which I thought was pretty good.
So, I know I've seen the show and loved it. I read the manga. Austin, I know, hasn't read the show, and I assume people viewing might not have seen it. Describe the show to us. What is the plot? What is it? What is it about?
Well, so the plot. I'm on Wikipedia, by the way, because I don't have the best memory of this.
Boo.
Shut up.
You watched it, like 2 days. You watched it like not that long ago.
It was a while ago. Dude, other things have happened, alright? What do you want from me?
I
Anyway,
need to remember the plot of the show you're doing a segment on.
so you have your character, Yuji, your typical anime protag. You know, good kid, surprisingly strong for some reason. And, oh my god, I hate giving synopses. Jesus, I forget. And, let's see.
You're not doing a great job of making me want to
He
watch
was-
this.
I know. My brain is failing me right now.
Sounds like a typical shonen.
Look, here's what I'm gonna say. Jujutsu Kaisen is about a dude who gets a demon by his own will put inside him, and he fights other demons to, for some reason, make the demon inside him much stronger to possibly take him over. And the people around him are scared, or like, hey, he's pretty useful. And,
Okay.
yeah,
I
just watch it.
I don't want to step on your toes, but
Step on my toes.
can I give a synopsis of what the show is actually about?
Do it.
Okay, so it's about Yuji Itadori, and like Sylus said, he's kind of just a normal high school kid. He's really athletic and whatnot, and one day he's in this occult club, like sorcery and magic and spirits and stuff, and they have this item, this cursed item, and through some shenanigans, it turns out that this item belongs to a famous spirit that had 20 fingers, and that is one of the fingers. Through shenanigans, Yuji eats the finger and now has this ancient spirit living inside of him. So, the higher-ups of the spirit world, like the underground, like, spirit world, say, we're gonna kill you. You're
they
on
don't want him
execution.
around.
Because, you know, you have this demon thing living inside of you and he can take over your body whenever he wants. And you're just like a dumb kid. And Yuji says, no, hang on. What if I eat every single finger? Because you can't destroy these things because they're super strong. What if I eat every finger and then you can kill me afterwards. And then you'll get rid of me and the fingers, because that's the only way to get rid of the fingers, because, like, you can't destroy them normally. And they're like, okay, fine, that's a good deal. We'll take that. So it's kind of his journey to find these fingers and get strong enough to fight the spirits in the world around him.
You know, he never really uses his otherworldly power.
Sweet.
I mean, he uses his curse technique, or he uses his cursed energy a lot.
Not for a while.
Yeah, but it takes him a while to learn.
For a while,
So,
he's just beating him up.
Austin, what are your questions?
you
You're the
said he
one
eats
outside
fingers?
looking in. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're literally like dried up fingers.
Okay, so he's eating fingers, but they bestow like some kind of like power.
So it's like a. I'll have Sylus explain it. I don't want to step on his toes.
That was a bad idea. So, when Yuji eats the finger, the spirit of the demon essentially possesses him. And he's like, oh, I'm a part of you now. And, oh god, how did that... So, Jesus, it's hard to explain. At least for me, anyway.
Your segment is all about explaining shows and
I know.
media.
Anime's hard to explain, dude. Especially when you watched it once.
Well, it's when you explain it, it just sounds so
Yeah, that's
dumb.
what I'm thinking right
And
now.
like,
It
not
is
you,
dumb.
not you. That's not a rag on you. That's a rag on every anime plot. Like, if you read a synopsis, it's so dumb.
But anyway, the demon, his name is Sukuna. He's the god of all magic or whatever?
He's like the Lord of Destruction or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that
something
type
something generic and like looming.
Generic evil. But he's cartoonishly evil to the point where it's fun. He is a ginormous ass. Just the meanest motherfucker ever. But, so the fingers, every time he eats one, Sukuna gets more powerful. But Yuji can still somewhat suppress him, or at least for the most part. There hasn't been an instance where he lost control. But, I think so far he's eaten 5, maybe? 4? 3?
Less than that. I think it's like 3.
Yeah, 3 maybe.
But that's kind of spoiler territory. We shouldn't go too far into spoilers. So this is
Yeah.
if you're trying to.
Yeah, it's
convince
hard to get
Austin-
into without spoilers. Couple years,
Late.
I'd say?
No. The anime
A year?
came out late last year, or early this year. It was months ago. It was not that long. The season ended just like a month or 2 ago.
Yeah, it's the only reason I started watching it.
The manga started in 2017, 2018, but the anime started in 2020, I think. So
Yeah, it was 2020 because I remember everyone was talking about it.
Okay. How in a rating scale, Styles? How much have you watched of it? You finished the whole thing? What
I finished the
What would
first
you
season.
rate
It's
it?
the only season that's out.
on a
right now.
1 through 10? Number 10 being honestly the best thing since sliced bread, and a 1 being absolute trash.
I would
Five being
say
average.
Eight and a
8.5.
half. Okay.
It's definitely
Yeah.
worth a watch.
See, that's the thing is like, so you were.
So what are some of the strengths of the series? Oh, Austin, go
like,
first.
You say an 8.5, but like I wasn't really getting that from the way you were describing it. I'm not trying. I'm just like.
Well, because
trying
I
to see,
suck
like,
at describing
why
it.
Do you think it's an 8.5?
This is the most excited I've heard Sylus in years. I don't know what you're talking about.
I guess just because, the characters work. Like, all the characters are good. There's no... You can say it's a lot like Naruto, which some would probably think that's a bad thing, but it works
I've heard
better
that
than
before.
Naruto
I think
did.
Jaden's told me this.
You have
he said
your-
the same thing to me. He's brought that.
I have my spiel. I think it has surface level comparisons to Naruto, but it's nothing beyond that.
Your main group that you focus on is like Team 7.
Yes,
You
that's what I'm
cannot
saying.
deny
And
that.
then you
But
got
that
Kakashi.
is literally it.
But that's surface
Okay.
level. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you can make the comparison. They're training to be the best. There's a squad of 3. You got the young naive boy with a demon inside of him, the edgy teenage prodigy, and then girl, and then
I'll say this: they did the
you have the
edgy
mentor.
prodigy really well.
and the mentor who's like the best thing ever that covers half his face.
Right.
hmm
That's like a trope at this point.
But the characters,
Yeah.
the story's good.
The Naruto team, a trope.
The fights are really fun,
Okay.
and there's a character I'm not going to spoil. 2 characters. Well,
he is my best friend.
yes, he is my brother, but he is the best character in that show. He beat out the main character as being the best in just terms of character. He's great, but I won't
Wow.
spoil it. You just need to watch it.
I might,
He's
like,
insane.
I'm watching Demon Slayer right now.
Yeah, finish Demon Slayer first.
But
But
this isn't a spoiler. Is there a talking panda in the show, Sylus? And if yes, tell me about him.
well, that's an interesting point. Does
It's a
he
very
actually
leading
talk?
question.
Does he talk, or does he talk through?
No, he literally talks.
Does he?
Yeah, okay, so Austin, there is a panda
Okay.
in the show. He's in the opening, so it's not a big spoiler. Yeah, he's
It's
literally just a panda. His name's Panda. His introduction is that he's a panda. And he is a second-year student at the academy.
The academy, and he's a panda.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and he talks. He's fine.
See, that's where I'm like, I don't
Does he-
think he talks.
Does he walk on?
No, he
two
talks.
legs?
He
Does
talks all the
Does he
time.
wear student clothes?
No,
No.
he doesn't wear clothes, but he does
So he's
walk
just
on
a
2 legs.
Panda who goes to
He
school,
wears bracelets.
and he did good enough to go
Yeah.
into his second year.
Yeah.
And he's not
Mhm.
possessed by like a demon or anything.
No.
No, they explain how he's made, but he's a panda.
Okay, it's interesting.
You could
He's
literally
also-
just watch it based on that because of the
Is the
panda.
panda? Like,
People have. The people are like, people see
the
the.
mascot of the series.
No.
He wants
I'd
to
say
be.
no. Yeah, he wants to be, but he's not.
People loved it. People were like, they saw the parkour panda in the opening, and they were going wild because there's like not even a 3 second. It's like a second long shot of panda on the roof doing parkour, and people went ballistic.
That's the only reason I even knew it existed was because of the panda.
Well, it sounds like if you like pandas,
And I'm like,
that's-
I have to
then
check
you
this
should watch
out.
that show. But the panda's not
No.
everything about the show, though, right?
I mean,
You
there's
have
only the one
figure
panda.
demon.
Panda's a side character at best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can never get
So,
enough panda though.
He's going around and nibbling
No.
on these fingers, right? And he's trying to get these powers to fight these bad demons who want to kill him.
Well, he doesn't really get powers from. Like he gets, I guess, a little bit stronger from eating the fingers, but it's not like he gets like new powers. Like he only really punches hard.
Okay.
That's like
yeah,
his big
he's just
power.
really,
And that's
really,
it?
really strong.
I'm assuming each time he finds a finger.
There's a little more to it, but yes.
To, like bad guys or people who want them.
Well,
It-
so
there's-
the bad guys want. Do they want him to eat the fingers, or do they want to eat the fingers? I don't remember.
Well, they don't want to eat the fingers. No, the bad guys are. This would be going down a rabbit hole because the bad guys are curses and spirits, and they want like curses to reign over, but they don't necessarily want the demon inside of the main character to be revived. Like they do and they don't. They do because like he would kill a bunch of humans, but they don't because he's uncontrollable and he might kill them.
Okay.
I don't think there's a might. He absolutely would.
He would, yeah, he would. But like that's where they're kind of at. Like there's the demon inside of the main character is more of a time bomb as opposed to an antagonist.
Yeah.
Like it's not about whose side he's on. He's going to blow up whoever's around him if and when he does explode.
This dude is only in it for himself, and he will gladly let Yuji know. He's like, I don't care about anything I just want out.
So it's a little more complicated than how you put it, but you're technically correct, Austin, that he's just mainly going around trying to eat the fingers. But there's a lot of nuances to it.
And he's like a high school kid.
Because there's a bunch of different factions. They're trying to do different things with the fingers. People in the same factions don't necessarily agree with each other. There's a lot of, like, especially on the human side, there's a lot of politics going on with, like, what do we do with Yuji? Like, some people are, like, still just trying to kill him. Some people are just, like, fine with him. Stuff like that.
Yeah, you think that'd be a bigger plot point in the show, but they really only, like, drive it hard in the beginning, at least I think.
They drive it
just,
hard
like,
in the...
Well, and at one point, one of the teachers was super into killing him.
Well, he, like, slight... I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it, but, like, they do bring it up in a few different arcs. It is, like, an ongoing thing.
It's pretty much just to remind you, like, we should kill him. This isn't good for us. Yeah.
Okay.
Jujutsu Kaisen, right?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Have you read the
Yeah.
manga?
Yeah.
No, the manga's good too, but the anime is like chef's
What was
kiss.
that?
Mm-hmm.
The manga is good,
The
but the
anime
anime
is
is
better
like
than the manga?
chef's kiss. I don't know if I'd say that, but they're both
Okay.
near perfection.
The
There
anime
we
I
go.
didn't
is
say like on
super
our
good.
scale like Parasite or anything.
They're different experience. They're slightly different experiences. The animation in the anime is really good and really fitting, and the music's like everything's top notch. But the manga has this grittiness to it, and like the art is very like free flowing and kind of like sketchy at times, and it just gives it this weird like punkish feel that I really enjoy. I don't know if I'm making any sense to anybody, but I think it's a like very sketchbooky at times, and I really think that adds a lot of character to it.
And this is done by like a major studio.
Oh my god.
It's made by the people that made
The last few seasons of Attack on Titan, I think.
Yep, Attack on Titan, and they made something else too. I think Dorohedoro, which is
Okay.
one of my favorite
I
series.
have a lot of experience in YouTube from talking about stuff, and this sounds like it's pretty good. I might look into it.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
Worth it.
I'll put it on my list.
Even from my
I'll
terrible
bump it up a
explanation
bit
of it.
to after Demon Slayer, I'll get into it. Yeah.
I'll hold you to it.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I know. I don't expect
You
anything.
know how that goes.
I've been
for
hurt
both of us.
before.
Yeah. You never expect anybody to actually do what they said that you're gonna do. Yep.
We have such a loving friendship.
We all try to get each other to do something we want them to do, and then we make agreements, and they'll never, knowing that the other person won't actually do it.
We'll know, and then show up a few years later and say, "Oh, this is pretty good. You should check it out." It's like, dude, I told you about that like forever ago.
It's a 7 year.
I told you about
7-year
Arkham
rule.
Asylum
It's a
7 years
7-year
ago.
rule for me. Like, you told me about something, and I haven't touched it right then and there. It's gonna be 7 years.
I can't wait for him to touch, like things like Hollow Knight in 5 years.
You're not wrong though. Like I looked at Hollow Knight, and I was like, man, Danny keeps telling me to play this. And like my brother has it, and I've literally had it downloaded on my Switch, but I haven't touched it. And you're right. I know. I have to wait 5 more years.
You're killing me. You're killing
I
me.
have to wait 5 years.
Okay, we're straying far from Silas's segment. Any
Oh, it's
final thoughts, Silas Austin?
I think I get the gist of like what it is and what you're trying to get across. Was there anything else like you were wanting to say?
No, not really. Just despite my terrible explanation of
Okay.
it, I pretty much just check it out for
I want
yourself.
you to give me in as few words as possible for each one. In as few, right? Like it's just a statement. 3 reasons to watch it.
Characters, animation, and the fighting's pretty
Okay.
good.
Sounds good.
It gets very hype.
It's also a very violent series too. I should
Oh
add.
yeah, it is.
I wouldn't call it gore, but there was a lot of blood and stuff. And they're not afraid for people to die. Okay, so our final segment of the show, we have why didn't they invent this years ago? Where I will explain to you the wonderful joys of technology, modern technology, and why haven't we thought of this years ago? Today I bring you the hands-free umbrella. It is literally a drone with a little umbrella on it, and it uses AI to hover over you at all times. So it's a little drone. Just picture it in your mind. I want you to close your eyes. Picture it. You listening. I know you have your eyes open. Stop that. Close them. Yeah, your drone. Little 4 propellers. He's sitting there flying. On top of it, big umbrella. Just like the top part of the umbrella. And it's covering over the drone. And he's just following you. He's like a little friend following you. Protecting you from rain. And he has a little camera. He's a little AI. He can follow you. What are your initial thoughts? Is this a good idea?
Really dumb. How much does it cost?
I looked up a couple articles. It's, I think, still in production, or at least these.
Okay, so what are they selling to us? Are they selling us the drone?
This article says it will cost $275.
$275 to have a drone like follow you around wherever you go and keep rain or whatever from getting on you.
Yeah,
I'll buy it.
It's like a little $275.
$275.
And you can just carry an umbrella.
I think it's cool.
What is this? So what is this? What is this company called?
You're making me look through my article.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it just?
It just says a Japanese
umbrella,
company in this article I have.
Like taped to a drone, or is it a specific drone that has this technology?
I mean, they did.
You can't just go and download these files and then and upload it to your drone that you currently have, right?
Well, I'm sure if your drone's capable, you could probably do it. It literally, like, I don't know much about it other than like the little bit I've read and the little bit of video I watched. But it's literally, it just looks like a drone with like an umbrella taped to it, like bolted to it.
So I have a fascinating invention for you too that you've probably heard of. It's called the hat umbrella.
I know what that is. Yeah.
Where it's an umbrella you just wear as a hat.
Yeah, that looks
Hands
That looks
free.
dumb. With
Like,
this, you
no
don't
one would
look
even-
dumb.
No, you look twice as dumb because you're spending almost $300 on a product that essentially you could get for like $5.
But what if it's not even like?
Oh my
it's
god.
not
Just so you
what if
don't
it's
have to
like,
use
it's
your
not even
hands.
like just like a foot above your head. The drone could be like 8 or 10 feet above your head, and like people just wouldn't notice like that's above your head. And you could wear
What
a
if
hat.
it's really windy?
Well,
Like
but
a
if you're wearing a
hat umbrella?
hat, what's the point of the drone?
What?
If you're wearing a hat, what's the point of the drone?
For the umbrella. The hat keeps your head
What?
from
But
the
getting
hat's
wet.
gonna
The
keep
umbrella
the
gets
rain
your
out of your
whole-
face.
Keeps your whole body from getting wet.
No, the main point of the umbrella is to keep your head wet or
I'm
free.
imagining like this umbrella that like kind of like covers the entire body. Like my I'm not getting wet.
It sounds
I'm
like
walking.
a cocoon.
What?
And there's rain not falling in a circle around me. That's what I'm thinking of.
No, it's literally an umbrella with a drone on it. Like it's, I don't know what else to.
Tied.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
it taped on there at least?
It's like bolted. I don't know how it's on
Oh,
there.
I don't think. I don't think I can take
It's
$225 for that.
It says the battery
Hour.
lasts an hour.
You're joking.
Oh my goodness. 12 hours is the best we could do for an umbrella drone?
Wait,
For a
no,
hat
no.
or for a
Actually, no.
drone
I'm sorry.
umbrella?
I'm sorry. It's 20 minutes.
20 minutes. You just...
You're lying. You're lying. He's lying.
It says current prototypes are 20 minutes, but the developers expect the final product to be scaled down so that it can get a flight time of 1 hour.
An hour is expected, but right now we're at 20 minutes.
Well, I mean, this article was written like
That should be out
3 years
by
ago.
now.
I don't know what more you want from me.
You know,
That's what I'm saying. Why
I
aren't
was
we
about
seeing
to
people
bring
with
that
this?
up.
Why aren't we seeing people with this?
I
You
don't
know why.
No, I don't. Tell me. Tell me.
Because there's a cheaper alternative. It's called an umbrella. Just use your hand. You lazy bastards.
That's it's too specific of a task for a drone. Because like I'm getting this fact that the real technology here, a drone that like follows you, right, by itself.
But they have those.
That's the cool thing.
It's called a drone.
The umbrella is just an umbrella bolted onto it. So like, why wouldn't I just go somewhere else and get that? Because I'm assuming you can get that now.
I mean, you gotta do like if they design it so that it flies with the umbrella. Like you can't just strap an umbrella onto a drone and expect it to fly perfectly straight.
How much of the umbrella is attached to said drone?
Like I said, it's just like the top. It's like it's like, you know how you have like the umbrella, like you have like the candy cane like handle or whatever, like a normal umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you have like a little bit of the stick part, and that's it. It's just like you got the drone, you have a stick that goes up, and then you have the top of the umbrella, like the.
And the drone goes above your head.
Well, it wouldn't do any good anywhere else. I assume
That
it
is
goes
quite
wherever the.
honestly the stupidest invention I've ever heard of.
I mean, I've got dumber in my list.
Yeah.
Just wait till next week.
There is no human way.
Nah, I don't want to spoil it, but there are some good
I'm
ones.
gonna be.
But I actually really like the
There's
idea.
a reason why this hasn't been out. Like, why didn't we think of this years ago? Like, someone did, you know, like obviously, and yeah.
It's called an umbrella!
But my hands.
Oh no, you have to use one hand to
that's why
hold
presidents always have.
a quarter of a pound piece of metal and plastic in a
That's like
fiber, I don't know.
Hello?
Uh-oh.
I think we lost Austin. He was so upset at the umbrella that he disconnected.
He just left.
He
Couldn't
just
handle
left. He went into the void. Oh.
Oh boy.
If this remains in the final recording, I am sorry. We are.
It better not.
It better. I think it'd be funny. We can all laugh
Just
at Austin
dead air.
together. It's better than the rest of the podcast.
It's better than my segment, I'll tell you that much.
I mean, that's part of the rest of the podcast. Why are we so self defeating? We should be
Because-
proud of ourselves.
We suck.
Don't say that. No, that's not what I'm saying. We gotta have faith in us. If I don't believe in me, who is?
If nobody believes in you, then you won't fail.
That's not true. There is no correlation between failing and people believing in you.
Well, actually, if no one believes in you, there's no one to disappoint when you do fail.
That's fair. That's a better statement.
Sorry, I had to correct my statement there.
Mm-hmm. You disappoint. I believe in you, Sylus. That's all that matters.
Well, now you're setting me up for failure. And you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
I'm used to being disappointed with you, Sylus. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, welcome back.
We kept it going, kind of. It's already a train wreck. Let's end this, baby. Any final thoughts on the umbrella drone?
Yeah, it's a stupid idea. I don't know why anyone came up with it. You're an idiot if you really thought this was the future of umbrellas.
I mean, you don't have to insult me personally like that.
Not you, the creator.
You don't have to insult me personally like that.
I would probably stop being your friend if you actually created that. I'm sorry to say.
Austin, what did you want to say before you got disconnected?
Yeah, I was just saying that, like, I think it's kind of silly, and I don't think anybody would be willing to pay $275 for a drone that has an umbrella on it. I do think that, like, the technology of having a drone just follow you around is the cool thing, not the umbrella part.
Okay, so final thing in this article I wanted to bring up. It says it was marketed mainly for golf courses.
For
That's
what?
Golf courses. Does that make sense?
even dumber.
But that's the crowd that would use it.
You've left me, like, speechless.
Speechless
That
because of
is
how
the
genius it
movie.
is?
What purpose? Why?
That's not what I thought about at all. As someone using it for golf, I was thinking of, like, walking down the street with a cool drone above
Well,
my
you can
head
do
with
that
an
too,
umbrella.
but like...
That's so much cooler than watching people. I mean, yeah, I get it. They do that with the drones. They have them record stuff for sports. Like, why not let them use them for umbrellas?
So you're on board now.
I'm not buying it.
But you
Just
accept
because
them.
it's not completely dumb doesn't mean it's
It's completely
We have
dumb,
better
and if
uses
someone
of this
actually has
technology.
bought this, you are dumb.
we have better uses of this drone technology. Like
No, we don't.
delivery.
Like racing.
Yes, like Google delivering stuff to us, or Amazon delivering stuff to my house.
Is that even
That's what we
real, that Amazon drone thing, or no?
Yeah,
They were testing
it
it.
is. People said it's been very bad.
I think people keep shooting them
There
down.
was a video I saw that someone had, like, a box got, like, dropped on, like, the roof.
I thought they had a
Like an
problem with
apartment
people
building.
shooting them down.
Yeah, that too. People kept shooting them down to get the boxes and everything. Turns out there's no defense with that, and, like, they can't tell who's shooting it down, or it's pretty much, people are gonna steal packages. You know what I mean? You need to have, like, armed guards with them, like the drones that have, like.
Well, then
machine
what's the
guns or
point of a
something.
drone at that point?
No, drone with drone bodyguards.
You could just shoot those drones down
But not with those drones have guns.
from a
This
distance.
is
if the
okay.
drone
This is
can
we're
see
we're
you.
spiraling down. I want to pull us back on track. We're spiraling down into a weird place right now.
Yeah. We're gonna get to some cyberpunk type stuff.
Yeah.
Right
We can say that for another technology
Yeah, that's cool.
corner. We can discuss the ethics of giving drones a gun. Okay. We've been recording for a little while. Any final thoughts on the podcast? Anything we want to add? Final notes? Anything you thought of in the last hour regarding anything we talked about?
I've realized that, like, that I am an idiot. Some of the things that, like, not really. Like, I believe we're all smart, but, like me and Sylus are obviously very wrong with our definitions of, like, sports and stuff.
Hey, whoa. We were both kinda right.
Both kind of right, but then we changed our minds once we have once something got told to us, we changed our minds.
Well, yeah,
Well, but
once you
that's-
know the true definition.
That's why I asked you guys, because I was curious, because I knew this wasn't going to be easy. I designed, like, I chose those sports because I knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I like to make you guys think, as opposed to just saying we're talking about superheroes this week.
Right. Sorry about that.
No, no, I liked it, but, like, I just want to set expectations for if I ever control the general topic, I'm going to come prepared, and we're going to have a mental workout.
Sounds good.
Does that make me an athlete now?
Yes.
There you
Put it on
have
your fridge, Silas. There you
There you
go.
have it, ladies and gentlemen.
A
Sylus
plus
is an
athlete.
That's gonna be whoever's putting this on the different platforms. Make that the title, Silas the athlete.
No, Sylus the
Sylus
A plus
the
athlete.
Sylus, athlete extraordinaire.
Good to go.
Okay, I think we can
Well,
end it on that note.
Thank you, everybody. Till
Goodbye.
next time.
Goodbye.